On now and talk about the auto space, because auto numbers have been trickling in. Almost all companies have reported. Bajaj Auto reported their numbers yesterday. It's been a weak performance for the entire sector. For Bajaj particularly, both domestic and export segments have seen a fall this time around. Total sales down 15%, domestic sales down 12%. On a year-on-year basis is what we're talking about. Even on a month-on-month basis, total sales came in at 3.63 lakhs in Jan, not too different from the 3.62 lakhs in December and 3.79 in November. So it's actually seen a bit of a dip there. Rakesh Sharma, the Executive Director of Bajaj Auto, joins us now. Mr. Sharma, good morning and thank you for being with us as always. I think for the last 6 months, you've been telling us that there is a lot of rural distress, especially in the mass market segment. And, up until now, there's no really substantial recovery in demand. Does that hold true even now, or are you seeing some green shoots of recovery? And what is the expectation for Feb and March?
Morning, Sonia. Yeah, since the festive period, I've been saying that we are picking up a lot of weakness in demand, which has only got aggravated over Q3, and January was a big dip. And I would go back to the registration numbers, which provide the most authentic sort of pulse for what's happening out there. And there is a dip of almost 17% for the industry in motorcycles in January compared to the previous January. So certainly there is there is a strong weakness there in the demand environment. The three-wheeler was coming back nicely, but because of I think there is an interruption because of the third wave. I expect it to get back on track very quickly, because as people realize that it's a sort of a soft third wave. Exports is holding steady actually. The negative which you see when compared to the January of last year is because of base effect. December and Jan were very big months last year, because that's when the pent-up demand came rushing in. But if you see sequentially, exports has been clocking very, very good numbers, and we expect that momentum to continue.
Mr. Sharma, good morning. Are you disappointed with the budget then?
Well, not really, because, to begin with, that expectation of immediate relief coming out from a budget is not there. And the budget is, as everyone is saying, and I echo that, is realistic. It's focused on fundamentals and modernizing the country. The aspects which I think are very pleasing is that there is, again, a strong signal for the government of its support of EV. And as companies like ours, fork out huge capex over the next few years, it's very reassuring to have that signal. I think the whole fintech, the support to the fintech sector is going to be very important for people like us, because as retail finance penetrates rural areas, it's going to drive growth, and there is a big catchment area there for two-wheelers. But yes, in the immediate term, it doesn't do anything to stoke demand immediately or to bolster consumer confidence. See, our consumers are the less organized sector. 70% make less than 50,000 rupees per month. There is a here and now situation they are facing of huge erosion of their purchasing power and weakening of their sort of outlook. Now, we'll have to wait till this budget unleashes a trickle-down impact on this sector. But there has to be a recognition that, this 9% growth which is being forecast in the GDP, the less organized and the bottom end of the demand pyramid are as yet not getting swept up by that growth. We may have to wait some more for all of it to trickle down.
I take your point, Mr. Sharma, because we are seeing not just rural distress, but even urban unemployment levels have surged quite a bit. I mean, post-COVID, urban unemployment levels hit, 9.3% in December. Want to understand from you, you started by saying that there's weakness in demand. Can you break it up for us? Where are you seeing the biggest weakness coming from? Is it from tier 2, tier 3 cities? Is it the rural market? And what do you think the government should do right now to sort of boost demand?
So, we've been trying to understand these patterns, territory-wise, geography-wise, income groups, demographics. But the point is that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, rural, urban, metro, higher-end motorcycles, lower-end motorcycles, everywhere there is a double-digit decline. So it's an endemic. It's not localized to a certain state or not. There may be a few percentage point differences or not, which actually very strongly suggest that there is a structural issue. And the structural issue is, like I'm saying, the erosion of the purchasing power. At the same time, the cost of the two-wheeler has gone up, partly because of material costs, and in a large measure because things we have done, sometimes overreach in regulatory impositions, etc. They've caused the prices to go up. So this double whammy of prices going up and real income for that segment of population going down is prevalent almost everywhere. So it's not a localized issue. Now, what the government can do is, of course, I think the best thing would be for the country if, all these plans are executed very fast. The only other thing one could have sort of thought is that given the fact that the tax receipts and the revenue side of the government is so comfortable, to recognize that a two-wheeler is not a luxury item. It is a very, very essential item. As roads are penetrating, people are getting employment, not in and around their villages. They have to travel a little bit to the next urban center for their employment, etc. And it's become a tool, it's a necessity. And if that recognition is there, then reduction of the cost of two-wheeler through reduction in taxes would be helpful. Alongside, what happens is that this is a nice milking cow. So there are lots of state governments which impose road taxes. So the incidence of higher prices on the customer could have been sort of buttressed to some extent. That would be probably the only thing which I would say could have been done or should be done.
Okay, we feel your pain, Mr. Sharma, and I mean the entire sector is getting hit. I mean, there was nothing, to be frank, there was nothing for the salaried class in this budget, no tax relief, etc. So perhaps there's no money in the hands of the average salaried taxpayer to go ahead and buy these products. And as you said, the ownership cost has gone up substantially for two-wheelers. Well, let's hope that we see some recovery come through. But for now, things are looking quite disappointing in the two-wheeler space. That's the word coming in from Bajaj Auto.
All right, that's an interesting conversation.